Hi, Spots and Cheap Pops. You're on the air.
AEW Full Gear, your preview show is starting now.
Here we go with the first match on deck. Mr. Silicon Steve Valli. I'm going to lead off with MJF versus Roderick Strong.
This is the one. I thought this whole pay-per-view was a lot of slam dunks for me, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel.
Okay.
I think MJF wins this one going away, and I think he hurts Roderick Strong. And something happens where it might cause a rift between Roderick and MJF and the rest of the, Mike Bennett and Taven and whatever the hell else, whatever's going on with that stupid faction. But MJF is not losing. MJF is not losing a pay-per-view to fucking Roderick Strong anytime.
Oh, no.
The history of the world.
I went with MJF as well. And I was even thinking that maybe if Adam Cole runs out there to maybe defend Roderick Strong, I wouldn't be shocked if Roddy went and turned on Adam Cole. And that's like MJF now has his new crew or something, which I don't want to see. But I think something major is going to happen between Roderick Strong and Cole.
This storyline is so stupid and
Yes.
and told so poorly.
Yes.
I was thinking that too, just because Mike Bennett, it almost looked like Mike Bennett looked like he was going to turn on Roderick Strong. I could see maybe Taven and Bennett turning. I don't think Roderick Strong does. Yet. We'll see what happens. But Roderick Strong had that really impassioned promo about how he's going to beat MJF this past week. MJF also said some really fucked up things about Roderick Strong. I mean, are you really going to make fun of a dude's mom shooting her father when they were in a drunken rage fight on TV and then have him turn and side with him 4 days later during their match? That doesn't make any sense to me. I got to be honest. So I don't think Strong turns on Cole. There might be a beginning of a crack, or Taven and Bennett might turn. That might be the part. Maybe then you see Strong, O'Reilly, and Adam Cole come together, and then you have those 3-on-3.
Yeah, but I got to be honest with you. I don't necessarily want to see MJF with Taven and Bennett any which way.
Yeah,
overall,
I've hated for sure.
Yeah, I've hated this feud anyways. But yeah, I'm going with MJF as well. Let's go to the next match where I'm going to put out there Will Ospreay against Kyle Fletcher. I'm going Kyle Fletcher on this one.
So did I.
There you go.
Brilliant man, speak alike. I think this is a good opportunity for Kyle Fletcher to really make himself. Ever since he shaved his head, changed his gear and everything, he looks like more of a star than he did. And he's incredible in the ring. He's got huge size. One of the best young wrestlers on the planet. And he's going to go in the ring with the best wrestler on the planet, who, oh, by the way, every time he steps up in a pay-per-view has the best match of the night. Yep. No, he never had a bag put over his head, nor did he have some kind of liquid stuck into his jawline via syringe. But damn it, Will Ospreay continues to have the best match of the night every time he wrestles, which included even this past Wednesday night in a 4-man, in an 8-man. So, in many respects, I mean, I might be using hyperbole there, but it's going to be the match of the night. But I think Will puts his buddy over, and things are going to start looking dark for Will Ospreay. You would assume Will Ospreay is going to make the ascension to the the AEW World Championship sometime in 2025. That was our expectation. But now that not All In is not going to be not going to be in London, who knows now? But Kyle Fletcher and O'Reilly. I will say this is my other prediction. That will be the match of the night. Hands down.
Yeah, easily. Yeah, because those two know each other. A lot of trust.
Yeah. You saw it too on this past Wednesday night, the brief time that they got together. There's magic there. You could feel the magic already.
Yeah. There's also the other thing to consider is like, I feel like we mentioned, like what you call Ospreay is going to put his buddy over. I think the Callis family will dig in a little deeper and seem a little bit stronger now. They're starting to look like a really well-oiled machine now. So
monster faction, man. When they came out, and the four of them I'm looking at Lance Archer, who I love, Brian
Yeah.
Cage, who I love. And then you got Takeshita, who I love. And now this is the best Don Callis faction we've had. And they've got a couple champions in there too. So Callis is finally working his way. I mean, that's one faction that you put up against anybody in that company. It's going to be tough.
Death Riders or even the Hurt Syndicate. That's like, this is comparable now.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah, I agree. Next match. AEW World Tag Team Championship match. So 4-way match. We got Private Party, the champions, against the Outrunners, everybody's favorite nostalgia act. Kings of the Black Throne, and also the Acclaimed.
Well, this is all going to be about the Acclaimed breaking up, and Private Party's not losing the titles this quickly. They're going to have at least another pay-per-view where they win. So I think I'm taking Private Party. But the big thing is look for Anthony Bowens to get pinned or something happen with the Acclaimed where Max Caster either turns on him on tomorrow night, or tonight, I should say, or he'll turn on him on Wednesday. So that's definitely in the cards. So this is mostly about the Acclaimed breaking up, which is ironic because we're about a week away from the New Day officially breaking up, which is crazy to me. So they both break up at the same time. But one's a good story and the other one's the Acclaimed. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens though. Otherwise, but I predict Private Party winning this game. How about you, Vladi?
I'm rolling with Private Party in this as well for all the reasons you mentioned. I know Malachi Black's in that match, so he's not winning. And then also, the Outrunners, I'm sure will have a good showing, get a good crowd reaction. But like you said, this is going to be, if not the end of, a very important portion of the end for the Acclaimed. So I'm definitely going to Private Party here.
It's a weird group of wrestlers working together too that don't have a lot of experience. I don't expect this match to be that good. Actually, it probably will be good because the wrestlers involved are really good, but it's going to be interesting to see. But again, this is just let's get Malachi Black, let's get House of Black on the pay-per-view some way. By the way, quick side note, what did you think of Malachi Black having to drop another video explaining that he's not leaving AEW? It's like the third one. Holy shit, it's like the third one.
He should just have one stock video and just put it out there whenever somebody brings it up.
Anyways, moving along, Vladi Dadi.
Yeah, let's go with the International Championship match here where we have Konosuke Takeshita versus Ricochet.
This was the one that I couldn't figure out and that I had a trouble. I'll let you go first this time. But this was the one that I had a trouble with.
Yeah, I chose Takeshita.
So did I. Okay. Your reasoning.
Yeah. I just don't think it's time for him to lose, mostly. I see the rise of the Callis family starting to happen, and I don't think they're going to play it like 50-50 between Fletcher and Takeshita. I think, they're going to go to the next Dynamite and into the next pay-per-view on a probably more elevated level. So, yeah, I can see Ricochet losing here. I also kept in mind that he was also offered a business card by the Hurt Syndicate. So that was another thing I kind of considered, where maybe Ricochet is actually one of the guys that turns after a loss like this. So why did you choose Takeshita here, Mr. Valli?
Well, no, I chose Takeshita primarily because of what you said. It's kind of soon to have him lose that title just yet. I think he wins in a very shady way. I think he's going to win. And I don't think it's going to be the last time you see Ricochet and Takeshita win. I think Ricochet eventually wins this championship. I do. But you might have to wait for either Winter is Coming or World's End for that to happen. But I think Takeshita gets the first victory here. He's also on a monster roll. And like you said, you want the Callis family to have a very strong and good look to him. Also, you're going to see Cage and Archer go for the World Tag Team titles, and they'll probably win those titles if they ever do get a shot. I'm not sure. For me, though, I would actually just turn FTR heel, have them join the Death Riders, and run amok in the tag team division too. But what do I know?
I don't know. It's a better idea than some of the ones I've seen Moxley and Tony Khan have. So I'd side with you. Next match. Your favorite dude here, Jay White against Hangman Adam Page.
This seemed like a very manufactured and unnatural build to me. Again, it's one of those things where you have the heel going up against a faction, same as at the MJF situation. For me, I am taking Hangman Adam Page to think Hangman is going to a place where they're trying to elevate him to a bigger star than he already is. And they clearly hate Jay White for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But also they're making a big deal that Jay White's like 4-1 against him. So that needs to be balanced out a little bit. 4-1's a little crazy. So without a doubt, I think Hangman Adam Page wins just because of the push that he's been getting as of late, beating Swerve, beating pretty much everybody he's faced for the most part. And I think this is this is just a way to get Jay White on a pay-per-view and continue Adam Cole's push. But hopefully the Jay White booking actually works in a little bit. If not, he'll be in WWE in a couple of years, and then he'll probably get a chance.
Wow.
I don't know if he'd even get over in WWE, to be honest with you, at this point in time, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know as well, man. It's been a little disappointing. I'm with you. I also chose Hangman Page. The lopsided record, and also I think most recently there was that Wrestle Dream where they wrestled and Jay White won. So, I'm thinking Hangman with the win here.
Good shit. We continue. You can't overtake the two matches that I'm ahead of you if you keep picking the same picks, bud.
Sorry, man, but I got to choose who I got to choose here.
It's going to come down to Survivor Series. I'm feeling it right now, brother.
Wow. You have the TNT Championship here with Jungle Jack Perry, champion, versus Daniel Garcia.
Daniel Garcia is not ready. Just like Jack Perry said. I think this is actually one that can go either way, though, too, for the most part, because I think they love Daniel Garcia. I probably should have picked Daniel Garcia in retrospect. But I did pick Jack Perry. I think they're trying to build something with Perry, trying to make, I don't know what they're doing. They're trying to make him some kind of badass. But again, he's another 150-pound whatever the fuck,
There's plenty of those, bro.
He looks like the rapist from that 70s show at this point with the beard. So,
I mean, that's a great.
I picked him though.
This is where we differ.
I picked Dylan McKay's son.
I did not. I picked Danny Fandango.
I think, and you're probably right. That was one that can go either way as well. But I also think that they're going to want Danny to struggle before he gets his championship match. So I think Jack wins this one. He's only had that title for a couple months too, but who knows? You never know.
Yeah, but with the Bucks being gone and not sure what's going on with Okada, I just feel like they just re-signed Garcia. I'm like, and I think that'll be one of the good go-home moments of the show, if anything. So that's one of the reasons.
A lot of baby faces winning here. You're right there. That's a good point. I think I screwed that up. I think I lost that one.
Yeah, we'll see. Next match: Swerve Strickland versus Bobby Lashley.
Bobby Lashley is not losing his first match in AEW pay-per-view history. So, and also Swerve can still sustain the loss, even though it'll be his third in a row on a pay-per-view, if I'm not mistaken. But he's living fat stacks. I think this is obviously just the beginning. This is probably chapter 1 of at least a 2 or 3 part series between these guys. And maybe you see Max Caster come back around at that point in time. But we'll see what happens. But I think Swerve loses this one, too. I think Bobby Lashley wins his first AEW pay-per-view match.
Yeah, I agree, man. Bobby Lashley's a star. I chose him. I was actually a little disappointed that he wrestled on Dynamite. I thought he should have just
cheeseburger. Isn't that nice?
And that's the thing. It's like, okay, here's a huge star that you have, and you have him against a guy named Cheeseburger.
It was a squash match. What are you gonna do? It's all good.
His pay-per-view debut is a few days away. That should have been like the grand entrance.
I would agree.
My opinion.
I don't think it's. I would agree. I don't think it's make or break either way, though. I don't think it's a killer for you.
And then I didn't really like the way that Swerve was able to get hands on him. It was almost like a cat and mouse game and all that. Like, I would have protected him more. Like, I would have had Shelton Benjamin take a hit from the punch in the chains instead of Lashley. I didn't like the presentation there on the first, the go home show before his first pay-per-view is all I'm saying.
My to play devil's advocate, Swerve has already looked like kind of a bitch in this situation. So Swerve, you need to get something over if you're going to maintain, especially if you're going to beat him for the third time in a row on a pay-per-view. Especially if that's going to be the case, Swerve's got to be able to get some kind of offense or something over what's happening with Bobby Lashley. That's the biggest reason I picked Bobby, because I don't think they would have done that. I don't think they would have had Swerve get buried or beaten up every time they interacted. And then all of a sudden, he wins that match as well. So I think it's not bad if Lashley's winning. But I hear what you're saying. You want to protect Lashley as that beast, but you also don't want to make Swerve look like a bitch either, because he's been one of the biggest stars you had the last year.
Well, that's where I said you can get like contact in on Shelton Benjamin and maybe even MVP, buffer it a little bit. But that's just the way I would have done it.
I mean, I can go either way. I don't think it makes or breaks the storyline.
Speaking of breaking storylines,
everything that AEW does. No.
Yeah, here's the bathroom break of the pay-per-view. We got the TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné.
I knew it would be the Mercedes Moné match. I knew that.
Versus Chris Statlander.
Woo!
Wow, so excited.
It's going to be a great match. I think it's going to be a very good women's match. I really do, because you have two women that can go in the ring, bell to bell. Say what you want about Mercedes. She has not a good promo. She's like typical NXT promo. You know what I mean? It's like forced, generic bullshit promo that she does, that she's been doing her whole career. But when the bell rings, she's actually pretty good. So's Chris Statlander. It's going to be a good match, but she's not losing. We know this. She's not losing that title yet.
Yeah, pretty predictable as well. I went with Mercedes Moné. And I say this too. It's like, when I say the bathroom break, just she's so unlikable, and it's not translating well. And I know she's supposed to be a heel, but it's like, when she was doing her promo the other night, they were giving her a shut the F up chance. I'd have to try to think when was the last time I heard, a woman wrestler draw one of those sort of chants. It's not a common occurrence. So she's just being universally hated at this point. But I do agree. It's going to be a good match, and she's definitely going to win. And from there, perhaps I can go to the water is wet category of the night with the AEW World Championship match between Jon Moxley, the leader of the cryptic Death Riders, against everybody's favorite cup of juice, Orange Cassidy.
That was a great intro to that match. I don't need to go into the specifics of it. Jon Moxley. We know why. We've already covered why.
Yeah. As the day is long, Jon Moxley will win. Thank you, Tony Khan, for starting our night with the Costco guys and ending our night with Orange Cassidy getting pinned or submitting to Jon Moxley.
I think he gets choked out and passes out.
Yeah.
I think happens. And I don't care. That's the problem. If the main event was Moxley against somebody who I gave a fuck about, that I can think would actually be a challenge to beat him and would actually be a great match. Like, there's no way I'm going to go. There's never going to be a part of that match, a moment in that match where I'm like, Cassidy could actually win. That's not going to happen. If it happens, God bless you. But it's not going to happen. There's never going to be one moment in that match where I think Cassidy's going to win. And that will always take away what I think of a match. I'm sorry. When it's a predictable finish and in your heart, there's no way that you can be convinced. You're going to stand on your feet. Oh my God, is this actually going to happen? That's not going to happen here. We all know Cassidy is losing this match. There's never been a more predictable finish to a main event in the history of AEW. That's not necessarily true, but this is one of the more predictable ones, especially when it's the beginning of any title reign. It's going to be predictable to start with. And then just that it's Jon Moxley and Orange Cassidy. And I just don't. I just don't buy into this character of Orange Cat. What's Orange Cassidy? So he wants to get beat up by himself. He changes every time he wrestles them. Changes. He's wearing black shirts now with his jeans, opposed to just.
Did you hear Shivani asking about the black pants?
No, what'd he say?
And actually, I'm not picking him apart on this. He actually brought him up. He's like, "Oh, did you notice Orange Cassidy is wearing those black pants? I think this is a first." And he said that, and I was even thinking, I'm like, "Yeah, is that a first?" And Excalibur jumped in and corrected him. He's like, "No, he's worn them on different occasions."
Yeah, he has. I've seen him black. I've seen him wear black.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay.
It seems like more prevalent now, though.
Yeah,
he's wearing a more
Darth Vader phase.
Orange Cassidy's not a top guy, folks. He's just not. And maybe Darby can be for a cup of coffee. But if you want this company to get more people involved, you need to have epic battles. And if you want your pay-per-views bought, you need to have epic battles at the top of your card.
Yeah.
Look at the people that Moxley could fight otherwise. Look at the names of the people that are not in the main event that are in AEW. And we can go up and down the list. Just on this pay-per-view, Swerve Strickland, bigger star, much bigger star than Cassidy. The thing is he sells merch, and that's probably where Tony Khan's giving him this stupid fucking push. Because he sells merch. Well, so did Danhausen, for Christ's sake. Yeah. But you have Swerve Strickland, you have Malachi Black, you have Will Ospreay, you have eventually a Kenny Omega, you have eventually an Adam Cole, you have a Christian who's been quiet. I mean, there's literally about 20 people in the company that are bigger names than Orange Cassidy. And I'm not going to go. I mean, if you want to go down the roster, we could. It'd be interesting. Bigger names than Orange Cassidy. Yet he's in a main event again on a pay-per-view. And look, I like Orange Cassidy in his role. He's not a main event guy. Sorry. Is he a good wrestler? Yeah. And he's had some great matches. He had some classic matches, especially with like Zack Sabre Jr. He had a couple of really great matches, especially during his international championship run. So I like Orange Cassidy, but he's not a main event guy, and he's never going to get more eyes on your product because he's one of the people that when people see AEW and make fun of it, he's one of the people that people bring up.
Yeah.
Let him make his money and get on TV every week and whatever you're doing. But his character's not evolving into anything that's cooler than it was 2 years ago. His character's devolving. His promos, I'm supposed to take this guy seriously with his promos. Now I know what I have to do. And by the way, his promos, he's saying some nice things. He's not fucking them up. They're not bad. They're not terrible. They're not bad promos. It's not like it's Mercedes Moné. But it's not to the point where anyone... I hope they draw a lot of money. I don't know if I'm even buying it though. I'm buying it because the rest of the card is. I'm buying because the rest of the card is really good. And that's been the problem with AEW. The card up and down is always good, with the exception of the main event. The main event, for some reason, they put a fucking mid-carder in every goddamn main event. There's a fucking mid-carder headlining. Can we stop the mid-carders main eventing your pay-per-views for fuck's sake? Please, I'm over it. It's your bullshit mid-carders.
Ironically,
not quite JD from New York, but I tried.
Ironically,
fucking fuck.
Ironically, this entire preview of this pay-per-view, you and I did not mention a certain name one time. It's as if the dream is dead.
Ooh, Shane O'Mac?
Bingo.
Well, Jon Moxley came out and said this past week in an interview that you might as well wish for Santa Claus to come to AEW because it's not happening. So, what do you want me to do? I mean, you're right. I'm not optimistic about Shane at this point in time.
Yeah,
but maybe that's one of the things why Moxley said it. I mean, what's he supposed to do? Like, oh, it would be cool. He did say it would be cool, actually, too. He said it would be badass. But he did say it would be cool, but at the same time, it's not going to happen. So I don't know what to tell you about that. But if we're not thinking it and it actually happens, it's a whole different ball club then.
Yeah, it's true. That would be a big surprise. But yeah, I think in our hearts of hearts, we realize that it's probably not happening. And I don't know if they're going to go and add to the Death Riders, or I don't know if somebody maybe is returning. Does Sting get involved? Do we see a return of, I don't know, maybe like somebody like Miro or somebody that would defend OC and
I
or
thought he was released, Miro.
I don't think he's released. I think he's still under contract.
Maybe I know he asked.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was.
So I'm wondering if something like that might occur. But
why would you keep on paying him if you aren't using him? Fuck are you doing, Tony Khan? Like, what is the deal with? And why did you spend like $1 million to have November Rain play it for a preview to a pay-per-view? Which, by the way, you had audio playing the entire time over the song.
Right.
What is? Fuck! Why? Got to be kidding me!
He was so proud of that too.
Oh, he's like, oh, thanks for Guns N' Roses. Like, Axl Rose knows who the fuck you are. Axl Rose doesn't give a shit about you, Tony Khan. He wants his bitches and his cocaine.
He just wants to check the clear.
And kick out a guitar player or drummer.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's funny that was such a big deal, and I agree with you, man. It was just like you're playing the audio of the wrestling over it. So, Tony.
And like anyone cared at November Rain? Oh, cool. Song from 33 years ago. Cool. And it's a good song. I like November Rain. It's like Tony Khan's like, oh, when I was a kid, I loved November Rain. He does all these weird little things where he's living through his fantasy because he now owns a professional wrestling company. The only thing is you're not doing, Tony, is running one where people care enough.
Yeah. I wonder if he really liked that song as a kid, like you said. Like he would just sit there in his basement and just pretend to play the piano to it.
It's probably
jam out to it.
It's probably from a critical standpoint the best Guns N' Roses song, I will say.
It's their Stairway.
It is. It's got the slow. It's like a 6 minutes song. It's slow and then builds into like crazy shit at the end. They have more iconic songs that are played a lot more, but I think that's their best song critically. It's so that's the only difference I would say is like I think critically, like from a pop standpoint, popular standpoint, I think all the shit from their debut album is probably bigger. That was a single. Like I think what's the one where he did the you got
Mr. Brownstone
and balls in your mouth, Sweet Child of
Mr.
Mine.
Brownstone.
Mr. Brownstone's probably not one of their big ones for some obvious reasons.
Welcome to the Jungle.
Buddy, can you tell me the lyrics about immigrants and gay people in that song? Can you repeat those?
Was that Mr. Brownstone or that was another one on GNR Lies?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not that big of a fan. Are you a much bigger fan than Guns N' Roses than I am?
They were big when I was in high school, so I was aware of them, and it was like...
Me too.
They definitely... Because it was like, they sort of took over for like Michael Jackson. It was like, it was like they were huge in like terms of sort of evolving from the hair bands, especially. I mean, when they first started Welcome to the Jungle, they're sort of looking like, especially Axl's like a hairband guy.
Paradise. Yeah, dude. Welcome to the Jungle. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they kind of got a little bit more natural, if you will. And it was just like they embraced being hard rockers, if you will. And like Paradise City, you mentioned, filmed at the old Meadowlands.
Giant Stadium.
Iconic song. So, yeah. Giant Stadium.
All right, folks. Thank you for listening and watching. Hi, Spots at Cheap Pops, your preview for AEW Full Gear. Thank you so much to Vladi Dadi. This is Silicon Steve Valli. And here has been Hi, Spots at Cheap Pops. And here endeth the lesson.